On this toy spot, we're going to be looking at the Justice League Unlimited 6-pack featuring the exclusive Doomsday figure. Now, this is the original 6-pack featuring Doomsday. There was also a reissue 6-pack that featured, I believe, the Justice Lord instead of the Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. It carried a more of a purple schemed Bizarro. It had a green colored Amazo. It was like green transparent, and it also had Doomsday, but it was a red Doomsday, and it made absolutely no sense to me. Certainly, it wasn't a set I picked up, but it's definitely worth picking up if you never picked up the original Justice Lords. As you can see, the package, very standard. I commented below, I believe, I commented before with the Gorilla Grodd 6-pack. I really don't like the fact that they used the DC Superheroes tagline with this, with the Justice League figures, because finding them on eBay tend to be a little confusing, because as soon as you type in DC Superheroes, you tend to always get the 6-inch as search results instead of the smaller scale here. On the back of the package, a very beefy package, I might add too, so much so I have to keep moving the camera around here. The other figures, not so much in the wave, but also figures that were released around the same time. There was a 3-pack of Green Lanterns. There was the Justice Lords with a alternate Flash, even though it was really just a reverse Flash. Then there was the individual carded figures. There was a Demon Etrigan 3-pack, Zatanna Shining Knight 3-pack with Batman. The real ones of interest, I think, are the Demon Etrigan 3-pack, because I don't believe he's yet to be released as a single carded figure, and then the unmasked Hawk Girl, which actually got was pretty pricey. I remember finding on eBay. I don't know what it is not now, but and then as well we've got the individual carded figures here, ranging from Metallo. We've got Copperhead. We've got Orion. And Vigilante, which looks very nice. But there you have packaging. If you've seen reviews of the Justice League Unlimited figures, certainly packaging always tends to look about the same. But what we'll do is we'll get this package opened up, and we'll have a better look at the individual figures, including the exclusive Doomsday. So stay tuned, guys. There's much more to come. No, you didn't miss anything. None of these figures really want to stand well on this backdrop, so ultimately they all fell over, so I thought, I'll just leave them laying down, and we'll go through the figures individually. First things first, let's get through the regular standard figures, the figures that they always throw in. We'll go through the basic Justice League figures first. The Wonder Woman is standard. It's the re-released Wonder Woman with the wider legs and the different hair. I believe most Wonder Womans now tend to have more narrow legs, and the head is a slight bit different. But this is what the second release Wonder Woman. You can always tell it by I believe the wider hair was more predominant on the second release Wonder Woman. But it includes that. We'll move that out of the way. Comes with Batman. Oh, standard Batman. I remember I warned you guys at the beginning of these reviews that you're going to see a lot of these figures quite often. Never liked the Batman before with how wide his arms are, and the problem still stays true with these figures here. The only thing I do like about the Batman is that he does have a wider cape. Most Batmans now have narrower cape, kind of like that. But aside from that, very standard Batman. Move him out of the way, and we'll look at Superman. I think the Superman suffers the worst quality control of all the Justice League figures. As you can hear, first of all, there's something loose in my Superman. I don't know what it is. It's probably a pin from the waist. The coloring is off. It looks like Superman got a sunburn And I mean, the quality control by this point, there's splotches all in the, I don't even know if you guys can see it, but there's splotches all in the face and in the hair. The plastic looks very cheap, and it doesn't feel substantial anymore. And I'm very glad that they've now gotten rid of the articulation in the elbows and the knees, and they've just given us back a regular Superman. Very remarkable, considering if you had asked me that 5 years ago, or not 5 years ago, whenever these figures first came out, I was happier with the fact that the articulation was getting put in the knees and the elbows. But I think looking back on it now, I'm just happy that they've removed these. But there you have Superman. Very standard Superman. I'm sure you've seen it tons of times. The exclusives in this set are the clear Amazo. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I did not like Amazo at all in the animated series. He was cool, you know. He looked silly in the original. In the original way, he kind of looked like an elf. But I found this Amazo was very generic, and I guess they wanted to do it because he was just a generic robot that could mimic other people's abilities. But I found him very bland. This isn't the first time we've received an Amazo. Amazo was released originally in a gray. He was also released in a gold. So certainly, if you in the standard in Tabula Rasa, you could have the gray Amazo, and then from the Return onward, and I believe Dead Rising as well, there was the gold Amazo, and there was a gold Amazo figure as well. If I find it, I'll do a review of him as well. But this is a clear version of Amazo, if you are looking to get a clear version of him. As I mentioned with the reissue pack, the reissue Justice League pack, there is a green version of him. I'm not really sure why, but there's a green version of Amazo. And we'll put him aside. I'm not doing articulation on all these. I guess really I could do articulation. The articulation on, you've seen the other ones, but the articulation on Amazo, he's got articulation in the arms, the legs, and also in the head. So it's very standard articulation. We'll put him aside. And last, just before we get to the Doomsday, we also have Bizarro here, which, as you can see, I hope you can see, suffers painfully this very apparent, very obvious glue splotched on his cape where they've applied it. Again, like, quality control, I think near the end of these sets started to get pretty bad. And I'm almost disappointed with how the paint went on some of these. It's funny if you compare these figures from the initial Justice League Unlimited figure lines leading up to about this set, you'll notice the quality is getting worse and worse and worse. However, if you look at the Justice League figures that are coming out now, the single carded figures and the packs, the coloring is a lot better, and the quality seems a lot better on those figures. Even looking at the single carded Supermans and Batmans coming out that were at the Comic-Con? Was it Comic-Con or was it Toy? I think it was Comic-Con. Was it Comic-Con? I'm going to be debating with myself. But the colors seem much more vibrant on the colors on the characters. And they're actually releasing show-accurate figures now. They're releasing a Martian Manhunter that's smaller but a more cartoon-accurate. And they're also releasing a Batman that's got the dark cape but with the blue undersiding and the more show-accurate colors. The point, though, is that while some of these figures, I think, suffer from quality control issues, some of the later Justice League figures seem to fare a lot better, the later released ones. It's very nice how they've done the paint on this Bizarro. They've taken what looks to be, I don't want to say Superman because the legs look a little bit different, but like at least it probably is a Superman mold, but they've just slightly changed the arms, and just because of the way they've painted the figure, it looks lopsided even though it's the exact same mold. I always thought that was neat. This Bizarro has been released several times in 3 packs, a single pack. The paint has generally been about the same. Like I said, though, with the reissue Doomsday pack, I believe he was more in a purple color scheme, and instead of the dark red. But his articulation is the same. He's got the articulation in the arms, the legs, and also in the head. But I always like the look of the Bizarro figure. I think he looks really, really neat. The figures also come with one stand, one display stand, which you'll probably want to use with the Wonder Woman. Unfortunately, most of the male figures don't have pegged feet, which kind of is a drawback. So Wonder Woman is probably the only one you want to use this stand with, at least for this set. And we'll move Bizarro out of the way. Let's get to the main character of this set, the Exclusive Doomsday, which looks awesome. This mold has not been used by any other Justice League figure, and it's good reason for it. The figure is massive. It is massive. And while I say it hasn't been used for any other mold, it might be used for the upcoming Lobo, because the Lobo seems pretty big as well, but a nice looking Doomsday. Unfortunately, I've got one problem with the paint just on the bone right on above his eye. There's a bit of gray splotch on there, but I mean, certainly it can be fixed. He's also got a rubbery jaw that looks like that's been applied to his head. It's a separate piece here. The hair is really nice. The sculpt on the shoulder bones are nice. The elbows, the spine. Overall, it's a really, really nice figure. His articulation he has articulation in the head. He has articulation in the shoulders and in the elbows with his very large hands. Look at the size of those, eh? He has no articulation in the waist, but you can bend at the legs and you can bend at the knees. It's not necessarily worth picking up this set. The real crime is the fact that to get this Doomsday, you have to get 3 Justice League figures you probably already have, and then you get a clear Amazo that doesn't make any sense, and you also get a Bizarro. The stronger set seems to be the lava version of Doomsday that's red, that comes with at least the Justice Lords. It makes more sense to put the Justice Lords with Doomsday than the regular League members. The only downside, though, is then you get the very badly painted Doomsday, which, again, I don't know why they did red, but a great set to pick up, really for only other reason than to get this guy right here. This figure is awesome, and he is large. He is very large, too, just to give you guys a size comparison next to Superman here. Very cheap Superman. But a great set. Well worth picking up for no other reason than to get the Doomsday here. But that was a toy spot on the Justice League Unlimited, and it was the 6-pack with the Exclusive Doomsday. A great figure. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more Justice League Unlimited figure reviews to come, and I'll see you guys next time.